Hey, I'm Geeky Pastimes, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at all of the new information about Call of Duty Vanguard. So we had the sort of teaser trailer, then we had the reveal in Warzone with the Battle of Verdansk, and I've got videos and all of that stuff if you want to check it out on the channel. And now we've got a blog post which gives us loads of information. We've also got some other little snippets from stuff that they've said on Twitter and some things that are on the pre-order pages and things like that. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments this time. Let me know the one thing that you're most excited about Vanguard. What's the one new thing that you're like really hyped about? The one piece of news they've given us. Do remember there's going to be loads more about Vanguard over the coming weeks. We've got CDL champs on Sunday, I think, at the finals. They're going to show off a little bit of multiplayer. Gamescom next week, we're going to see a little bit of the campaign. We're going to see one of the missions from the campaign. And then obviously there's going to be betas and all kinds of stuff like that over the next few months. So make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on, because there's going to be a ton of Vanguard content coming your way. So this is the blog post. This is something that they do, like Call of Duty have done loads of different blog posts over the last couple of years. They normally have ones for different studios, and they have like the main one. I think all of that stuff's pretty exciting. So they've said the big thing really, like from the trailer, the big thing at the end of it is that it's going to come out November 5th. And I've talked about that a little bit in another video, but that gives us about 2 weeks after Battlefield 2042 comes out, or 3 weeks if you have like the early access and all stuff like that. And we don't know when Halo Infinite's going to come out. So it's going to be a really busy season where there's going to be all of these games coming out within a few weeks of each other, which is going to be really exciting and mean lots of content, lots of streams. Twitch.tv/Geeky Pastimes, which is actually where I'm recording this right now. So they've said, I'll read through some of these bits and just talk about what I think of each of them. So Rise on every front starting November 5th. Witness the origin of Special Forces in a gripping campaign. Interesting, they talk specifically about Special Forces. So this isn't like you're not just going to be like a random soldier in the war. Like you're going to be Special Forces. You're going to be doing different things. Become a Special Forces operator in an adrenaline-fueled online multiplayer. Experience a universe-expanding Zombies crossover. Lots more on that later. Featuring full integration with Warzone, lots more on that later, including a brand new map coming later this year. And we'll talk about what we think that later this year bit means in a little while. So this is World War II combat like never before. This straight away I think is quite important, that they are trying to distance themselves from World War II, like the previous Sledgehammer game. Like this isn't a sequel to that, this isn't connected to that. Like they're trying to do a new experience, obviously within the same setting roughly, but they're trying to make it something new. And it's saying that you are forming Task Force 1 in a gripping campaign across 4 major theatres of war. I said in my video about things that I sort of hoped for from Vanguard, that I was hoping the 4 characters would mean that we were going to get some kind of co-op. I'm still not completely ruling that out, but because I haven't mentioned co-op at all so far, I'm kind of guessing that's not going to happen, which is a real shame. Instead, like each sort of quarter of the campaign is going to have a different character in it by the sounds of it. Then it's going to say you can become an original Special Forces operator in an online multiplayer rich in innovation with 20 maps available at launch. So they've said there's going to be 20 maps. Apparently there's going to be 16 6v6 maps, or what they call traditional multiplayer maps. And then there's going to be 4 maps for this new mode that they talk about a bit later. That's insane. Like, that's a huge number of maps. I feel like in the last few Call of Duties, we've been used to having like 8 or 9 maps at launch. So having 20 maps at launch is crazy. It'll be interesting to see whether they keep on adding as many new maps as they have been like with every season update and mid-season update. But 20 maps is definitely a lot. I really hope that is like 20 unique individual maps and not like, oh, there's like the big version of this map and the small version of this map, you know, that kind of thing. Or like nighttime version, you know how we had like Miami Night and normal Miami, or like Crossroads Strike and normal Crossroads. I wonder whether there'll be a bit of that going on to get us to 20, because 20 does seem like quite a lot. It says immerse yourself in a fully integrated Call of Duty Warzone experience. Kind of sad times that it is going to be integrated. They are carrying that on, and we'll talk about that a bit more. But yeah, experience featuring a new and massive map. This is the most connected Call of Duty ever, all powered by a next generation Call of Duty engine introduced in Modern Warfare. So that's kind of spiel, but now we'll get into the details of what all of that stuff means. Interesting, it says there's a new Warzone map, but it's a massive map. Makes it sound like it's going to be bigger than the current one, like they're really focusing on the size, which is kind of interesting. It says there, you know, they're Sledgehammer leading development, which we already knew. It's scheduled for worldwide release on Friday, November 5th, with PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, blah, 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 all of the platforms. Again, this is going to be cross-gen, so they're not pushing just for next-gen yet, which makes sense because like it's still so hard to get hold of a PlayStation 5. This actually isn't launching that far away, you know, it's only a few months. So I can't anticipate lots more people are going to get a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X's before then. So this is going to be something that lots of people will be playing on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which probably explains why the graphics, like, although the lighting and everything is really good, it doesn't look like a huge generational leap over Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare. And I think that's probably why, that they still want to have something that they can run and have the full experience on previous consoles. There's nothing in this about the way that Battlefield are doing it, where they have a different experience with like less players and smaller maps on the previous gen. Instead, in this one, I think it's going to be the same for everyone. So we've got the reveal trailer, and I did a breakdown of that yesterday. Check it out on my channel if you want to see that. It talks about the single player campaign. So you've got these special forces starting, you've got these 4 characters, and they've all got like different areas where they're going to be fighting. So you've got Riggs, Kingsley, Jackson, and Petrova, and they're from like the British, like 2 of them are from the British Army, but one of them's like the Australian division of it, because bear in mind back then Australia was much more part of like Britain. Or the United Kingdom, the British Empire, however you want to say it, the United States Navy, and then the Russian Army, the Red Army. 4 playable characters overcome desperation and chaos of war, and there definitely seems to be a real focus on this kind of chaos of war. That it's like seems really harrowing. It seems like really brutal. All of the stuff they've shown off so far. I don't think this is going to be such a like grand heroic hooray for us kind of thing. I think there's going to be a lot of almost like horror in this, which would be quite good. It says each rising from the trenches to become one of the original operatives, the prototype for modern special forces soldiers as they fight for victory in tide-turning battles across the globe. And then we've got some screenshots. I'll look at some of the screenshots as well as we go. This one's kind of interesting that this guy seems to be in a plane that's landed, but like there's no idea like they're on a runway or anything like that, and he's just shooting like a normal gun out of it. Seems very, very strange. And then you've got a couple of tanks as well. Now this image was actually used, I think, on the PlayStation 5 store, or maybe Battle.net, as like a thing where it mentioned multiplayer. And then you had this image, which implies that you're going to have these tanks in multiplayer. It might be something similar to Ground War, where there's like, you know, bigger map battles where you have vehicles and stuff. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that he definitely seems to be in the plane, and there seems to be these 2 tanks there. So this incredible campaign spans 4 major theatres. We saw that in the trailer, that you've got the east and western fronts of Europe, and you've got Pacific, and you've got North Africa. And it seems like the Pacific is going to have a lot of kind of the island fighting and some air combat. Africa's going to be mostly tank battles. The Eastern Front seems to have a lot of kind of stuff at night time and sniping and stuff, because that's where you're playing as that Russian sniper. And then the Western Front seems to be much more about paratroopers and, you know, the D-Day landings and stuff like that, I think. It says there, it's a deeply engaging and raw campaign. Again, raw, that word, like that makes me think this is going to be something kind of brutal. With the signature combat you've come to expect from Call of Duty, so they're not changing things up too much, test your meta across beautiful but battle-scarred war fronts as hope strives to triumph over conflict. And then you've got, this is from the African campaign, this is from the North Africa campaign with the tanks and stuff like that. That's one of the people, is that Kingsley? No, that's not, that's Riggs, so that's going to be Riggs. Then you've got multiplayer. So this is what it says about multiplayer, and I think we're going to find out a lot more about this over the next few days. 20 launch maps and more ways to play. It's set to feature a massive day one multiplayer offering with 20 maps available at launch, including 16 built for core gameplay. It does say 16 built, which sounds to me like they aren't going to be like small and big versions of maps. Hopefully they'll be separate. Featuring a wide variety of diverse environments, prepare for adrenaline-fueled action where intense Call of Duty combat is the name of the game as you rise through the ranks in your journey to become one of the original Special Forces operators. Sledgehammer Games is bringing a fast-paced tactical first-person combat and further innovating it with many more ways to play. So the many more ways to play is obviously interesting. Like, does that mean new modes or does that mean new mechanics? Like, that's a kind of interesting one. Because this is, as we'll talk about later, using the Modern Warfare engine, are we going to have doors in the multiplayer again? Because that's like actually changes the way the game plays quite a lot. It says there's an advanced gunsmith and caliber system that brings immersive and reactive environments to a new level. Now, forgive me, gun nuts who know lots more about this. Caliber system sounds interesting. Like, you're going to be choosing the different types of ammo that you're going to be taking with you. Maybe different calibers are going to be a bigger thing. So, like, all of the guns that use 9mm aren't going to penetrate through anything, for example. Then everything that's going to be using like 7.62 is going to be a lot better than anything that uses like 50 cal is going to like go straight through buildings. It'll be interesting if there's like a much more clear-cut idea of like what each caliber does. That's what it sounds like to me, but I'm not entirely sure. Advanced gunsmith, I'm not entirely sure what that means at all. One of the things about World War II, and like if you've watched any of those amazing videos that have been done with the guy from Leeds Armoury, from the Royal Armoury, you know, the guy with like the black and grey hair, where he's like talking about guns from different games. He spends quite a lot of time talking about the fact that World War II weapons didn't really have that many attachments. Like, you'd only really see scopes on sniper rifles. Most guns didn't have that kind of modular setup. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Gunsmith, whether they like make up a load of things or whether they use a lot of kind of sort of prototyped attachments and different variants of guns and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And then it also said there's the next generation of Gunfight. Now, I'm really excited about this because I loved Gunfight. I think it's really good. I don't tend to play it as a normal mode very much, but I do play the tournaments. I really enjoy the tournaments, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. Now, it says that this is going to be called, the new version of it is going to be called Champion Hill. It says, imagine quick action, close quarters, small squad combat in which 8 teams compete in a series of head-to-head matchups where the last team standing wins. So to me, this just sounds like gunfight tournaments, where you're going to have like 8 teams and then each one of them matches up with each other, and then the winners get to go on and then the losers get knocked out and can go queue up again. So to me, this sounds like they're just trying to stop gunfight tournaments being a limited time mode, and they're actually trying to turn it into like a core game mode, which I think is really good because I really enjoy the structure of tournaments. It makes it way more exciting if you win overall rather than just winning one match of gunfight. I think that could be really cool, and I'm excited to see more about that. It says, look for more details in the worldwide multiplayer reveal coming soon, including information on the forthcoming open beta. So I'm not sure when they're doing the multiplayer reveal. They said that there's going to be a sneak peek at multiplayer on Sunday with the CDL champs. So I'm guessing that isn't the reveal. And at Gamescom for opening night live, they said that they're doing a like single player mission. They're doing a campaign mission playthrough. So it's not going to be opening night live at Gamescom. They might have their own event, like their own stream or their own video sometime around the time of Gamescom maybe, or maybe this is just something that'll be completely unlinked to any of those events. Who knows? Anyway, on to Call of Duty Zombies. So this is Vanguard Zombies. I quite like the fact that in the Zombies kind of logo, you've got all of these symbols and things like this. You know, it looks almost like the Apophicon language, and I'm sure someone's going to correct me and say that's not the Apophicon symbols. It'll be interesting if like they're going to go back to a bit more of that, like a bit more of like having the codes and symbols and stuff like that. Obviously, I would love that. It says Zombies, a brutal and thrilling experience developed by Treyarch. Now, that's quite interesting that it's definitely going to be developed by Treyarch. We're excited to announce a franchise-first crossover as Call of Duty Vanguard features an all-new Zombies game mode with development led by Treyarch Studios. This cooperative experience continues and intertwines with a dark ether story to create deeply engaging lore, all while innovating on the core gameplay that the mode's famous for. Now, this is really interesting to me. A, it's made by Treyarch, so Treyarch are continuing Zombies. But it doesn't sound like they're just carrying on with Cold War Zombies for like another 4 maps or something like that. It sounds like they're saying it's a new game mode. So like that makes me think maybe they're gonna redo field upgrades and perks and stuff like that, have different mechanics, maybe new mechanics, lose some, gain some, different types of enemies, stuff like that. I don't think this will just be an extension of Black Ops Cold War. I think this will be very much Vanguard Zombies, but just with Treyarch still at the helm of it, so like the story will continue, and you know they've got all of the things that they learned from doing it before. It does make me wonder if Outbreak's going to continue, because I think Outbreak was quite a big success for Black Ops Cold War. It got a lot of kind of casual zombie players into it, like people who didn't really play it before. I think they were more they were more happy to get into it as a more accessible mode for zombies. So I think that was probably quite exciting. It says discover the unspeakable horrors of the precursor to Black Ops Cold War Zombies while holding off the relentless onslaught of the undead when Vanguard launches. So Zombies is going to come at launch, so that means probably for my streaming, my content, the first day on November 5th, Probably going to be doing a Zombies Easter egg by the sounds of it, which I really like. I think that's a fun way to play Call of Duty. If we get access to the game a day or two early, then we can play some multiplayer. But then Zombies on launch day, there'll be a Zombies Easter egg. The last time they delayed the Easter egg by like a day after launch, and I think that's a good way of doing it, or a few hours after launch at least. So that'll be really exciting. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Geeky Pastimes, so you get told when I go live for that. Then it says, expect a detailed preview of Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies as All Hallows Eve approaches. All Hallows Eve is just the proper name for Halloween. So as we get closer to Halloween, they're going to talk a lot more about zombies. I'm guessing like Halloween's only a week before the game comes out. So I'm guessing we're not going to see much about zombies until really, really close to launch. I think they did it of Black Ops Cold War as well. I think zombies was like the last thing they properly showed off. So that seems to be just following the same pattern. Then it says for Warzone, and this is where obviously a lot of people are going to be super interested. There's loads of stuff to talk about with Warzone. There's a new map, there's a new anti-cheat system. So it says, Warzone's set to make Call of Duty history of a brand new main map launching later this year. Now the fact they've said later this year, with Zombies they said launching November 5th. This one, launching later this year. This isn't going to be there at launch. But this year makes me think, there's not that much time between 5th November and the end of the year. So it'll probably come a couple of weeks afterwards. Now for me, again, as a content creator, that's super good because that means I don't have to be like worrying about trying to make content about Warzone while trying to do all the zombie stuff. We've got a bit of a break. I quite like this, but I can understand some people might be a bit annoyed by this when they load it up and they realize that it's the same Warzone we already know. But definitely there's going to be a new map, which is really exciting. It also says it's going to feature a new PC anti-cheat system across the entire experience when it launches with the new map. I might do a separate video talking about this in a bit more detail, especially once they tell us a bit more about it. But this to me sounds like we're going to get something a lot more intrusive. I talked in my video before about anti-cheat and the fact that there already is an anti-cheat for Warzone, but obviously it wasn't catching enough people. This to me makes it sound like they're going to go full force and do something a lot more like what Valorant does, where they really try and say, okay, you wanted anti-cheat, we're making a big deal of anti-cheat. It is going to be something that's always running on your PC. It's going to be something that's running in the background and checking everything on your PC. Something you can actually like see in the taskbar, make it a lot more obvious what it's doing. I think that's probably the direction they're going to go. But it'll be interesting to see whether they tell us any more about that before launch. Warzone's also going to continue to honor your past gameplay experiences. This is something that, bit of a bummer for me. It's, universal progression set to continue. All of the stuff that you've got before, all your content earned via Battle Pass or purchased via Store Bundle will carry forward. You can play all of the different games to progress your rank. That's pretty cool. And you can create Warzone weapon loadouts with content across Call of Duty titles. So that is confirmation you can use all of your weapons from previous Call of Duties in this game. So all of the stuff from Modern Warfare, all the stuff from Black Ops Cold War, that means we're going to have free AK-47s. We're going to have like a bunch of different copies of all of these different weapons. You're also going to have like super modern weapons somehow competing and having to be balanced against the World War II weapons. I'm a bit worried about that. I think the Black Ops Cold War integration wasn't that great. I think especially for weapons, it ended up being really messy. I really don't envy people like JGod who are going to have to do testing on 3 games worth of weapons every time there's a balance patch. That to me is a mistake. I think like I understand why they're doing it, that people will get annoyed if they've spent a lot of money and then they can't use those weapons in Warzone anymore if it gets taken away, because I'm assuming like the current version of Warzone will just be gone. But it does seem like a shame that it's going to be really, really messy for loadouts and stuff like that. Also says full integration between Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone will roll out when the Warzone map launches later this year. So again, not at launch, not November 5th, but later. Now, there's another thing that I found really interesting here. It says, with Vanguard and Warzone sharing free post-launch content, a massive calendar of new maps, modes, playlists, limited time, and seasonal events. A couple of things there. New calendar of maps. This is in the Warzone section, but it says maps. Are there going to be more than one map? Like at the moment we have Verdansk and Rebirth, we have 2 maps. Is there going to be something similar to Rebirth, like a smaller map as well? I think that'd be a good move to have like a massive map and then a smaller one for shorter games. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, the plural on maps. I think that's kind of interesting. And then it also says limited time and seasonal events like we already get, as well as community celebrations integrated between the 2 games. Now the community celebrations, the Call of Duty UK Twitter account also mentioned that and talked about that a little bit. I'm really interested in what that means. Like, what is a community celebration? Are they going to have like Geeky Pastimes Day? Because I'd really like it if they had Geeky Pastimes Day and like everyone's operator just looked like me and no one could talk about leaks or data mines or anything like that, or they'd be permanently banned from the game and there was just no killing, just loads of Easter eggs. That would be awesome. I'd love it. Or like Sticks and Stones Warzone. That'd be amazing. But no, seriously, I don't know what the community celebrations are going to be, but I'm curious to see what they do with that. It's not a phrase that I've heard before attached to Warzone. And then it says there that they're going to talk more about Warzone as well as the anti-cheat in the coming weeks. They are going to tell us something more about this. Then you've got this cool picture that I used as the thumbnail, so I think this is a really nice picture that shows off the lighting really well. Then it just a little bit about the engine. It says that it's powered by the next generation engine first introduced in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That worries me a little bit that Warzone's going to be on that engine again. Hopefully they're going to make changes. Hopefully they're going to make upgrades to that, because, you know, there's a lot of problems with that engine. The grass and the trees don't move, for one thing, and, you know, you can't climb up rocks and stuff. But hopefully, like, they're going to tweak all of that stuff, or at least design the map around it and make it a bit more, make it work a bit better. It does say it's the most advanced Call of Duty experience ever. It'd be weird if they didn't. It was like, it's not going to be quite as good as last time. But yeah, Warzone integration, crossplay, cross progression, all of that stuff that you expect. It's going to be interesting. Like, so far, graphically, I would say the lighting looks very, very different, but that's because everything we've seen looks like it's from campaign. I'm really going to be interested to see a bit of gameplay in multiplayer or in Warzone to see how different it looks from Modern Warfare or Black Ops Cold War. It doesn't look like there's a huge upgrade in terms of like models and animations and stuff like that, but we'll see. The lighting definitely looks really different. I'm guessing all of these screenshots and all the videos have got like, so maybe they've put on proper ray tracing, like, you know, you've got the reflections of the fire there. Maybe they're going to go that route. I'm not entirely sure. Then there's a little bit there that says extra features. This stuff is less exciting. It just says, okay, you've got crossplay across everything, which is really good that that's still doing it. You've got loads of post-launch content, so there's still going to be new multiplayer, new zombies, maps and modes, community celebrations again, all of that sort of thing. And then the battle passes are all going to continue. So all the stuff you expect from Call of Duty from the last couple of years is going to be there. And then it says additional intel's coming. Make sure you've got it by checking the Call of Duty blog, or you can just subscribe to me and check out my videos, because I'll keep on making videos about this stuff, and my Twitter, twitter.com/Geeky Pastimes. Whenever there's something interesting posted, I always retweet it or post something about it. And then it says there a little bit about all of the different studios that are working on it. So you've got Sledgehammer Games are leading, Zombies is being done by Treyarch, Warzone's being done by Raven, and then there's additional support from Beanox, Demonware, High Moon Studios, Activision Shanghai, and Toys for Bob. Nothing about Infinity Ward, and I'm guessing that's because Infinity Ward will be working on the next Call of Duty game for this. Normally, like, all of these studios are kind of helping each other and doing little bits all the time. But yeah, it's interesting. And then you've got Rise on every front, which is like the tagline for Vanguard. So all in all, I'm super excited about this. I think that's a lot of super exciting information. I'm going to keep on making loads of content about this. So like I said, like and subscribe, turn your notifications on, check me out on Twitter and Twitch, all of that good stuff. And let me know in the comments, out of all of this stuff that they've told us, what's like the main thing you really love about it? What's the most exciting thing? What's the thing that's got you hyped? I just want hype in the chat. I don't care about things you're complaining about or you're worried about. Let's just get excited about new games, because that is way more fun than being negative. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.